If you're married, there's a Social Security rule that catches more couples off guard than almost anything else in this system. You cannot collect your own benefit and your full spousal benefit at the same time. You get whichever one is higher, not both added together. If that surprises you, you're not alone, and it's exactly what we're breaking down today, along with survivor benefits, divorced spouse benefits, and a change from last year that quietly restored benefits for millions of people who'd been shut out for decades. This week on the Nest Egg Report, here's what people are really asking. How much can I actually get from my spouse's record? Do I lose my own benefit if I claim theirs? What happens if we get divorced, or if one of us passes away? And is there really new money on the table because of a law that changed last year? Let's take these one at a time. Start with the basic spousal benefit. If you're married, you may be eligible for a benefit based on your spouse's earnings record, up to 50% of their primary insurance amount, meaning their benefit at their own full retirement age. But that 50% cap is fixed at their full retirement age number. If your spouse waits past their full retirement age and earns delayed retirement credits, pushing their own check higher, your spousal benefit doesn't grow along with it. It stays capped at 50% of their base amount. That surprises a lot of people who assume waiting always helps everyone in the household equally. It doesn't, not for this particular benefit. And just like your own retirement benefit, the spousal benefit is reduced if you claim it before your own full retirement age. Claim at 62 instead of your full retirement age of 67, and instead of 50%, you'd get roughly 32.5% of your spouse's primary insurance amount, permanently. Wait until your own full retirement age, and you get the full 50%. There's no bonus for waiting past that point on the spousal side. Unlike your own retirement benefit, the spousal benefit doesn't keep growing after your full retirement age. Here's the mechanic that trips people up the most: deemed filing. If you file for either your own retirement benefit or a spousal benefit before your own full retirement age, Social Security automatically files you for both at the same time and pays you whichever amount is higher. You don't get to pick one and let the other sit untouched. And you don't get both added together. You may have heard of a strategy called a restricted application. Claim only the spousal benefit at full retirement age while letting your own retirement benefit keep growing with delayed credits until 70, then switch over to the bigger check. That used to be a legitimate, well-known move. It is gone. Congress closed it for anyone born on or after January 2, 1954, which at this point is essentially everyone reaching retirement age today. If you see this strategy mentioned online as if it's still available, it isn't, for almost everyone watching this. Let's make this concrete. Say Diane and Frank have been married 28 years. Diane was the higher earner. Her primary insurance amount is $2,400 a month. Frank's own benefit, based on his own work record, comes to $900 a month. On its own, Frank's benefit is $900, but as a spouse, he could be eligible for up to 50% of Diane's $2,400. That's $1,200, if he waits until his own full retirement age to claim. Because $1,200 is higher than his own $900, deemed filing pays him the $1,200 spousal amount, not his own smaller benefit, and not both combined. If Frank claims early at 62 instead, that spousal figure drops to roughly 32.5% of Diane's amount, about $780 a month, permanently. Now, what if you're divorced? You can still claim a spousal-type benefit on an ex-spouse's record if the marriage lasted 10 years or longer, you're currently unmarried, you're 62 or older, and the benefit on your own record is smaller than what you'd get on theirs. Here's the part that surprises almost everyone. If you've been divorced for at least 2 continuous years, you can claim on your ex's record even if your ex hasn't filed for their own retirement benefit yet, as long as they're 62 or older and qualify. You don't have to wait for your ex to decide to retire. Survivor benefits are a completely different set of rules, and it's worth being clear about the difference because a lot of people lump these together with spousal benefits. A spousal benefit exists while both of you are alive. A survivor benefit, sometimes called a widow or widower's benefit, applies after your spouse has passed away, and it can be worth significantly more. Depending on the age you claim it, a survivor benefit can run anywhere from about 71.5% up to 100% of what your late spouse was receiving. Surviving divorced spouses get the same treatment as widows and widowers, as long as that marriage lasted 10 years or more. And remarriage matters here too. If you remarry after age 60, or after 50 if you're disabled, it does not affect your eligibility for survivor benefits on your former spouse's record. Remarry before 60, and it generally does affect it, unless that later marriage itself ends. One more thing, and this one is worth checking even if you think it doesn't apply to you. In January of 2025, Congress passed the Social Security Fairness Act, repealing two provisions called the Windfall Elimination Provision and the Government Pension Offset, retroactive all the way back to January of 2024. For decades, the government pension offset in particular reduced or completely wiped out spousal and survivor benefits for people who also received a pension from work not covered by Social Security. This hit a lot of teachers, police officers, firefighters, and federal employees under the older civil service retirement system. That offset is gone now. As of the middle of 2025, Social Security had already paid out more than $17 billion in restored and retroactive benefits to over 3.1 million people, ahead of its own original schedule. Processing is still ongoing in 2026 for some of the more complicated cases, so if you haven't seen your full retroactive payment yet, you're not necessarily being skipped over, but it's worth checking on. And here's the important part if this applies to you or your spouse. If you didn't apply for a spousal or survivor benefit in the past because you were told the offset would reduce it to zero, Social Security is not necessarily going to find you automatically. You may need to file an application now to get what you're owed. So, to recap, you get either your own benefit or your spousal benefit, whichever is higher, never both. The spousal benefit tops out at 50% of your spouse's full retirement age amount, and that cap doesn't move even if they delay past their own full retirement age. Claiming early permanently reduces it. Survivor benefits are a separate, generally larger benefit that only applies after a spouse has passed away. And if a pension from non-Social Security covered work ever reduced or eliminated a spousal or survivor benefit for you, that rule no longer exists. It may be worth a phone call to Social Security to find out where your case stands. This week, the one thing worth doing. If you're married, divorced from a marriage of 10 years or more, or widowed, log into your account at ssa.gov and check what you're actually eligible for on a spouse's or former spouse's record. The number there is based on your real earnings history, not a general rule of thumb like the examples in this video. If you're getting close to 65, there's a Medicare enrollment deadline most people don't find out about until they've already missed it. And missing it carries a permanent penalty of its own. That's exactly what we're covering next on the Nest Egg Report. See you there. This channel is for education, not personalized financial advice. Always talk to a licensed professional about your specific situation.